Bloomberg.com. Well, U.S. airstrikes continued against Islamic militants in northern Iraq, as you saw this morning, as Iraqi security forces and tanks concentrate near Baghdad's green zone. For some Republicans, however, the strikes don't go far enough.
For the president to say, we're doing airstrikes, we're not doing anything else, we're not going to use American combat troops, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, what kind of leadership is that?
So,
you should never let the enemy know what you're going to do.
What kind of leadership? Well, for more on this, Republican Congressman Mike Turner joins me. He's a senior member of the House Armed Services Committee, joins us on the phone. And also here in New York is Richard Haass. He's the president of the Council on Foreign Relations. Richard, let's start with you on this. The Republicans, as you may expect, are going to come out and criticize this campaign. They say that it doesn't go far enough. What would you say?
Well, in this case, I actually would agree that it doesn't go far enough, that it's important to attack ISIS long and hard in Iraq, but also in Syria. They ought to have no sanctuary. The United States ought to be providing large amounts of arms to the Kurdish forces. If they are sufficiently armed, they will more than acquit themselves. But this is now a serious military confrontation, and this group is a serious threat to the United States and Europe. The potential of their graduates, if you will, who fight and then come on passports to the United States as Europe is real. Their ability to spread disarray.
You've warned this many times before.
And I'm worried what they could do also to Jordan, to Lebanon, or beyond. So we have got to take these guys seriously, and we've got to go after them. No sanctuary.
Congressman Turner, an escalation, more to be done here. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I totally agree. The issue here also, though, is that as we debate military strategy and the president's commitment to limited strikes, we're still without a U.S. foreign policy. You know, what is the president's policy with respect to addressing this, with respect to addressing Syria? And we're seeing the degrade in part because of a lack of a U.S. presence and leadership.
Are we without a U.S. foreign policy? Is that fair?
Well, I think absolutely. As you look around the world, it's not just the issue of people wanting to know where America is, but they're also, seeing our allies being less certain and more concerned about American leadership, and therefore, even they are being more concerned and less likely to act. If you look, in Ukraine, Middle East, Asia, throughout the world, people are saying, where is the United States? Where's our policy? And where's our resolve?
And what is our policy? Richard?
Well, in Asia, we have a foreign policy, the so-called pivot. The problem is the administration really isn't implementing it. We haven't seen the increased military presence, the increased diplomatic activity. There's big questions about whether a trans-Pacific trade agreement will get through the Congress. In the case of Europe, we seem to have a policy in favor of sanctions against Russia, but towards what end? What is the nature of the deal that we deliver?
So we've been too timid?
Well, in some cases,
no follow-through and too timid?
Hard to generalize. In some cases, we simply haven't had the execution, the implementation. In other cases, it's simply not clear what the goal is. In the Middle East, in places like Syria, I would say we haven't done enough. In other places, you could argue we've done too much. We've tried to remake the Middle East in our image, whether, say, in Egypt, when we said Mubarak must go, or getting rid of Gaddafi, and then without the follow-through. So there's real questions in some cases of design, in other cases, real questions of implementation.
Let me play for both of you what Senator Dick Durbin said over the weekend about Obama's campaign. Let's play that.
Escalating it is not in the cards. Neither the American people nor Congress are in the business of wanting to escalate this conflict beyond where it is today. I think the president's made it clear this is a limited strike. He has, I believe, most congressional support for that at this moment. To go beyond is really going to be a challenge.
Congressman, that's a fair point. Where would Obama get the full support to launch a campaign?
Well, again, he's going to have a plan and a strategy that people can, evaluate and believe in. The problem here is in all of these issues, the president is too late. ISIS did not just, materialize out of thin air. This is a threat that has been evolving and forming. Clearly with their capability, this was something that the United States could have seen and should have reacted to. But the president's, delay in taking action and in showing leadership makes every situation that much more worse, that much more difficult to respond to, and certainly makes it, then that much more of a threat to our own national security.
And I take issue with something Senator Durbin said. I respectfully disagree. The president cannot conduct foreign policy by polling simply because right now the American people may not be comfortable with certain types of escalation. It's his opportunity and his obligation to make the case for why we need to do more now, lest the United States find itself in trouble later. Otherwise, if you simply do a foreign policy that's popular, that will get a country like the United States into trouble.
It's hard to do that by consensus, essentially, right?
We have to lead, and the president has to lead institutionally. And the good news is, under our political system, he has tremendous latitude. Under our Constitution, the initiative for foreign policy is left to the president. He should do what he believes is necessary, and he should make that case to the American people.
Hillary Clinton did this interview with The Atlantic that it's made some headlines this morning. I want to read for you what part of what she said. She said, quote, "Great nations need organizing principles, and don't do stupid stuff is not an organizing principle." How lethal of a shot is that from Clinton?
I'll let others comment on the politics, but the substance of it's exactly right. You need a framework for foreign policy. Otherwise, your inbox gets overloaded. You're not sure what to do, what not to do, or how to do it. You do need some organizing principles. You do need a sense of priorities. What matters most? Where is the United States going to put its resources? You can't do everything every. On the other hand, you don't want to simply sit on your hands.
Congressman Turner, we just only have a few seconds left, but what is the Armed Services Committee going to do? What's your steps?
Well, we're going to continue, obviously, to hold the administration accountable for the deteriorating situation. But I think you are absolutely right. The fact that Hillary Clinton, who normally would just sing the administration's praises, is willing to criticize them openly, shows that the obviousness of the difficulty in this situation. The president needs to act.
All right, Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio, and also the president of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass, with us.